Sounds like the mic's on. Cool. Um, yeah, man. So yeah, let's go. I'm gonna go into. There we go. I'm gonna go uh into the squad today. Sorry about that. If you couldn't hear me before, Mike was playing up. But essentially what I was saying was the racial abuse has happened to Willian on social media. It needs to stop. That's the reality of it. It needs to stop. We need to stop having players being racially abused. Um, it's not on. It's something that needs to not to just calm down. It needs to stop completely. We need to stop seeing players racially abused. We need to stop seeing the likes of Eddie and Ketia. Willian has come out in recent days saying that he's been racially abused. Everyone's saying we need to drive this out, but what's actually happening? Are the authorities getting in there and stopping this racial abuse? Because this can't we can't just have this constantly going on and on and on. It needs to stop. I'm literally fed up of seeing it every single week. Every time I play bad. I don't care how bad Willian is. Don't like why is he being racially abused? I don't care how bad. And Ketia hasn't even done anything, even though whether he has or hasn't done, should not be racially abused. Whether the Man United players, if you see Chelsea players coming out, it's like we had a period where it kind of slowed down, and all of a sudden, like the racists are just getting up, and like it's getting out of hand. So that needs to stop. This racial abuse needs to stop across social media completely, well, across all boards. But obviously, we're seeing it a lot now in social media. NBAFC says we need to concentrate on the Europa League. Our season has been a write-off ages ago. Yeah, and those of you that had seen the Let's Talk About Mikel Arteta from last week, if you haven't, go back on the channel Neeks Sports and just check out the Arteta versus the Let's Talk About Arteta. We had Charma and we had the Gal one. We was just talking about whether we think Arteta is the right man for the job. And we essentially said that, yeah, well, me and Charma definitely said that the Premier League is over. It's a write-off. We need to focus on Europa League. Now, just because it's a write-off doesn't mean we completely play the kids, because we need to try and get some wins and some motivation through the squad anyway. So I'm not saying that, but yeah, definitely in terms of Champions League, and maybe now even looks like Europa League football. Looking at a distant memory, if we can even say that, because the way we're playing right now is just not good enough, and we don't look like a team that should be fighting for titles. We look far from a team that was a Champions League team. So yeah, I think it's a write-off. I think it's an absolute write-off. Envy says Willian may not be everyone's cup of tea, but people need to remember that he's still human. All these platforms need to do more to combat this sort of stuff. Completely agree. We need to end this. Racial abuse stuff now. I don't want to and this is the thing. I feel like Instagram and Twitter, they ban people when you are streaming a game. When you're streaming a game on social media, you're quick to get banned. But when the racist abuse happens, it's like everything just happens in slow motion. But yeah, social media companies agree they need to do more also dealing with racists. Arsenal do not stand a chance against Man City whatsoever. However, stranger things have happened. Yes, they have happened before, but we ain't necessarily looking good going into the game. City are obviously unbeaten in their past 10 games against us, and I think the last 7 in the league we've lost. This is all just saw it in the Premier League. We lost the last 7 against them in the league. Not just that, they're coming on probably the best form of their life. I think they've got a club record of 17 straight wins in all competitions. So they're in the form of their lives. They're playing a team who they, usually beat. I want to say they're our bogey team, but who doesn't lose to City these days? I mean, who doesn't lose to City? He said that I feel that Arteta's priority is Europa League, in my opinion. We'll see today. We'll see what squad he puts out today. I said last week, it depended on the squad, will show how much he wants to win that Europa League. He went with what I think he thought was the strongest available squad, and we'll see today whether players will get a rest. I think we will see players get a rest today. Maybe not necessarily because they're not first team, but maybe to push for a potential start next week in Athens when we play against Benfica there. You're predicting 3-1 to Man City. I would not be surprised if you see a scoreline similar to that at all. Yeah, so as I said, City coming on the form of their lives. We're coming in some decent home form. I mean, we haven't lost at home for 6 games now. We won 3 and drawn the last 3. Obviously, we won last week against Leeds 4-2. but we have lost four games this season. I think that's the most we've lost in a season at the Emirates already. So we've not been great at home at all, but we have been better, obviously, in recent games. Um, and yeah, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, and if we do win today, our win against Liverpool in July last year means that we win consecutive games against the team at the top of the table for the first time since 2007. Because remember, when we played Liverpool last year, they were top, and we beat them. And so if we do manage to do a madness and beat City today, then it will be historic for us because we never beat teams that are sitting at the top of the league. And as I said, Man City are on the mad form of their lives. You've got Ilkay Gundogan, who's their top scorer with 11 goals, all coming in these last 12 games. So he's been in magnificent form, and we'll see whether he gets a start today. NB says City are a brilliant team. It'll be tough for us today. Pep is 4-1 up on aggregate against Arteta. Their record is good against us, and he thinks City will win 4-0. Yeah, no, Pep's got a good record. I mean, obviously, it's early days with Arteta, but he seems to get the better of us. We only got, I guess, the one is probably the FA Cup game, right? Last year, when we outplayed them, really. But yeah, battered us in the League Cup this year already, beat us comfortably in the league, even though it was it only 1-0 in the league at the Etihad? Just feel like we were never in the game. We are never going to score a goal in that game anyway. Yeah, so get your predicted lineups in. I'm going to go through that in a minute as well. But before we get to that, I just want to get to Arteta's comments. He said yesterday, because he basically said that he thinks that Man City are the best team in Europe. Um, after going 17 wins in a row, after beating Everton, he was saying that their football that they're playing and the consistency of the results take it all in, and it makes them the best team. He said that at the moment there's no better side than them in Europe, and it's going to be a tough game for us. He said it could define our season if we are unable to close the gap to them, but it can create momentum if we can get closer to them. We know the margin for error is minimal with the season that we've had, so we need to kick on. So he's saying that obviously he wants to push Arsenal on to try and finish as high as we possibly can. Obviously, it's going to be difficult in this man season that we're already in. We've obviously had a bad week. Bad season. As we are currently sitting in 10th place. You could say we got away with the fact that Wolves beat Leeds. That Leeds didn't go above us. Yes, on Friday night. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a very tough game. Um, I'm gonna get to this comment here about what have you made of Erdegaard so far. I like Erdegaard, to be fair. I think he's had some good games. I think he was man in the match in the Benfica game in midweek. Played some great through balls. He played some good football. He passes through the lines. A little bit different to the way Emil Smith-Rowe plays in the number 10. Emil Smith-Rowe sort of carries the ball and drives at the defense, whereas Erdegaard likes to play a bit more intricate. And I do like that about him. I think he's a good player, and I think we'll wait and see whether he is the guy that we really need to sign in the summer. But at the moment, I'm not. I can't fault his performance. Yeah. So Wilson's put his team in. Yeah, drop your teams in the lineup. Looking very decent, Wilson. I'll get into that team in a second. But yeah, before we go into the teams, I guess the team news for today. Tierney obviously came back from injury against Benfica in Europe, so we're looking like maybe he gets a start today. Maybe he comes off the bench. We'll wait and see what Arteta does with him. But obviously, he got 30 minutes in Benfica, so you imagine he's probably getting towards match fitness. And Thomas Partey's out again, and looks like he'll probably be out of the Benfica game in midweek. But we'll find out more on that next week, and then the week after, maybe the Leicester game on the weekend. Next weekend, we may see Partey back. So Wilson's team: Leno, Cedric, Luiz, Mari, Tierney, Xhaka, Ceballos, Martinelli, Erdegaard, Pepe, and Lacazette. Okay, so you've made a lot of rotation. You think centre backs will change? You think we'll get a change in fullback? You think the midfield will stay the same in terms of the pivot? And then we'll get a complete change up top with Martinelli, Pepe, and Lacazette. I'm not going to lie to you, bro. My team is going to be very similar to yours. Very similar to yours with one or two tweaks. And in fact, we'll get into that now. I'm going to share... I'm going to go through that lineup with you guys now on screen. So I'm going to go onto the website and should be able to see this in a second, and we'll go through the lineup that I think I'm gonna go London, but I think Arteta will play, and probably what I would like to play as well. So maybe a bit of both in there. So in goal, I'm gonna stick with Leno, as Wilson said. Like I think we need to. I don't think we need to rotate in that area at all. At right back, I'm gonna also go with Cedric. I think this will be a good time to rest Bellerin. He's had a couple of decent games. You know, got the assist. Well, could have got the assist for Aubameyang's goal. Obviously, Cedric did get the assist for Saka's goal in midweek, so I'm going to start him at right back. I think he looks so much more comfortable there than he does at left back. At RCB, I'm going to go with Rob Holding. So I know you went with David Luiz. I'm going to go with Rob Holding. Obviously, he hadn't played the last two games, and I feel like if you're going to rotate the centre backs, he definitely comes in, Rob, because I think he's had a good season this year. In a season where we've struggled a lot, so I'm going to put Rob Holding in, and at left centre back, I'm going to stick with Gabriel. Listen, I think he just needs to keep getting minutes in his legs. He's getting back to his best. I thought he had a good game against Benfica. I would rest David Luiz. I hear the Mari shout, and considering what happened against Chelsea last year when Mari came in and done very well, then Mari could definitely come in today. But I'm going to stick with Gabriel at left centre back, so I'm going to go the opposite to you and go Gabriel and Holding instead of Luiz and Mari. And at left back, I'm going to go with Kieran Tierney, as you put in as well. He is a good fullback, and I think we need him in this game. We need to have. Oh, I didn't do the formation. Please don't tell me it changes it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we need to have Tierney in this game. Um, I think you know we got 30 minutes last week, and I think that was with the intention to play him today. So I think he starts today. I'm also gonna. We'll start with a. Which one are we? We'll start with the left-sided centre mid, and I'm gonna go with Granit Xhaka. Again, I think consistency, keep him in the lineup, keep a bit of continuity in the middle to have him there. But with Thomas Partey being out and probably being out on Thursday, which means that Ceballos will probably start, I'm going to go with El Neni. Listen, I know we don't like El Neni, but this is probably the game where you do play him. Big game against one of the top sides in the league. He played very well there when he played with, was it with Partey in the Man United game at Old Trafford? Yeah, it was. It was him and Partey in the middle, and he was brilliant in that game. So I wouldn't even be mad at playing El Neni in this game. I know it probably limits us going forward, but I think we're going to be backs against the wall for the most of the game, and so you probably need two more defensive-minded players in the middle. So I'm going to go with El Neni instead of Ceballos. And then I'm actually going to agree with what you had here. I don't know which way you had it. I'm probably going to go with Pepe on the right and give a rest to Saka. Didn't have the best of games against Benfica off the bench, but has been good for the past sort of 6 weeks or so. So I think he deserves to get an opportunity. On the left side, I'm going to go with Martinelli as well. Again, another game where I think he could get a run out. He was good against Man City in the League Cup when he came back from injury, and I feel like a bit of pace on the wings could help us in this game. So I feel like I'd go with Martinelli, and I'm also going to go with Ødegaard at number 10. Ødegaard, as I said, had a good game in Benfica, was the man of the match for me, and a bit of consistency in the middle, maybe a bit more guile than Smith-Rowe, but we could easily see Smith-Rowe going to number 10. Again, Smith-Rowe played again in midweek, and the man is just playing back-to-back games, so I think he needs a rest, definitely, and maybe come back in on Thursday. It may be in place of Ødegaard, depending on how well he plays today. And up top, I'm also going to agree with the change up top as well. I'm going to go with Lacazette. He may start Aubameyang, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does, just to get a bit of consistency. And listen, when Aubameyang plays well, we plays well. We saw against Leeds, him through the middle was brilliant, and he absolutely dominated Leeds off the park. But he was poor on Thursday, and he, rightly so, was subbed off. And I think he may start today, if I'm honest. But I would probably go with Lacazette just to keep him fresh for Thursday. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mikel went for Aubameyang ahead of Lacazette. So that's my lineup in goal. Leno, I got Cedric, Holding, Gabriel Tierney, El Neni, and Xhaka. Pepe, Ødegaard, Martinelli, and Lacazette up top. That's the team that I think we'll go with. Just to get back into the comments, NB says he has the ability and hopefully can prove himself, and this is Ødegaard. And then we can sign him in the summer. Not sure I'd sign Tobias permanently. There's a decent player in there. However, I want to see a lot more from him. Yeah, I mean, £22 million for Danny Tobias is a lot for me, and I just don't think that we're going to pay that money. Can't see it happening. The Ødegaard thing will obviously There's a lot more in it. Depends on what Real Madrid want to do with him. Depends on what he wants to do himself and his agent. But also whether he's the person that we want. I don't necessarily know. Maybe Arteta will see him for 6 months and say, you know what, he's maybe not the one that we want, or maybe he is, and we try to sign him. So we'll see what happens there with Odegaard in the summer. Saka and Smith-Rowe need a rest as Wilson. They've played a lot of game recently. Yeah, agreed. They do need a rest. They've played well, but it may be best to keep them fresh for Thursday. He said Tierney needs more minutes to get his match sharpness. Yeah, he does as well. Played okay in midweek, but I think he needs to play. And yeah, definitely, I'd play El Neni. I wouldn't even be mad at playing El Neni, because I think we're gonna have backs against the wall, and I think yes, Danny Ceballos is better on the ball and passing forward, but when you need to defend, I think you need to have a double pivot in the middle against City. Now listen, we've only got an option of three of them, and also Ceballos played the last two, and I want to keep him fresh for Thursday. Like, I mean, I don't think we're going to win the game today, regardless. But if you're not going to win, you might as well keep some of the players fresh. And genuinely, like, I wouldn't be mad at it, even if we do lose today's game. Um, Pepe looks a totally different player on the left than what he does on the right. No, yeah, I get that. He had played good on the left. I just don't know if Martinelli can play on the right either. So maybe that happened. Maybe they switch. Maybe they switch mid game. Or maybe if Aubameyang starts or Saka starts, Pepe goes another side. But I think Pepe is more likely to go on the left, on the right than Martinelli. That's why I've gone with Pepe there. But I agree with you. Pepe does look better on the left, and maybe that's where he goes today. Um, he said, MB says Xhaka and El Neni do not work well together, in my opinion. They don't offer anything going forward, and they pass backwards and sideways too much. Yeah, I get that, but listen, I don't think we're going to be on the ball as much to be doing that sort of stuff today. I genuinely feel like the way City are playing right now, they're controlling games, and I know we are a possession-based team as well, and we do like the ball, but I think there's a discipline needed in this game, and I just feel like if we have too many forward-minded players, you could get taken apart, where I think you just need someone in there to just break up play, and I think that person's El Neni. I do, and I'm not the biggest fan of him. I don't think he should start week in week out. But in a big game, as he's proved, El Neni's proved it in a big game already. As I said against Man United, he was excellent in that game. And I think I know him and Jack are maybe not the best partnership, but without Partey, is Ceballos and El Neni any better? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. So I'd personally go with Elneny and Xhaka. But fair enough, you may think that you'll go with Ceballos and Xhaka, and we'll see what happens when the lineups come out. It was about 3:30. The lineups come out. Yeah. So we also said he's not confident about the Man City game whatsoever. And you know what? Nor am I. I'm not confident. I don't think anyone will be coming into this game. It's a game where you think anyone can win this game. Well, sorry, I say anyone can win. Anyone can perform well in this game, but even if we perform at our best, there's going to be a struggle to see whether we'll get the 3 points today. So it's going to be a difficult game. And he said everyone knows that Man City will dominate the majority of the possession today. How on earth will we cope with them? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea, and I'm literally nervous already thinking about it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard to see us get the 3 points today. But we've got to do what we've got to do. We've got to try and see what we can get. I'm gonna go for a 3-1. I'm gonna go for 3-1 as well. Wilson. Not many times we agree on a result. Wilson, that we think the game's gonna happen today. But I agree with you today. Um, Arsenal 1, Man City 3. I mean, listen, if we score, it's massive because they're not even conceding goals at the moment, and they rested John Stones in midweek, so I think he will come back in. And obviously, as I mentioned, Gundogan could be come back in today. KDB came on last week. Aguero came on last week. So if they have Aguero, Gundogan, and KDB, it's gonna be a tough game. And KDB loves to play well against us. Sterling loves to play well against us. I think he's got 4 goals in the last 5, something like that. And Aguero is Aguero. I think he's got a good record against us as well. Gundogan's on bagging form. So yeah, I can't see anything more than a Man City win, and I'm going to go for 3-1. But yeah, that's my prediction today. Come back on here a bit later on. I'll be on after the City game, probably around 6:30 ish. And yeah, we'll dissect on what will hopefully listen. If we get a draw, it's a magnificent result. So But yeah, hopefully we get something out of the game today to give us some confidence going into Thursday when we travel to Athens to play Benfica in the second leg. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I'm going to end on this one here from NB saying, do you think Arteta's style of play is looking clearer, or are you still unsure? I think there is a style. I think there's a clear style. He's obviously changed his mind, how he's gone through, and that's okay. It's okay to do that. He obviously started with a 4-2-3-1, then went to a 3-4-3 at the end of the season, which won us the FA Cup. Started the season with a 3-4-3, then went to the 4-3-3, then went to a 4-2-3-1 in terms of formations. But I think this is probably how he wants to play. Possession, out from the back, into the front line, and creating chances to score. He's an advocate of XG and creating chances, as you mentioned before. So I think he wants us to create as many chances as we possibly can to get the goals. And there is definitely a possession style based football that he wants in a probably similar way to Pep. He probably has that mindset of the way Pep has, just obviously not the quality of players that Pep has to do it in. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, guys, thank you all for joining. And yeah, I will see you all very, very soon.